to the Relentless CEO Podcast.
Relentless!
With Adam Kifer. Follow your path to success alongside icons and industry leaders in martial arts, fitness, and more.
Let's go!
This is the Relentless CEO Podcast.
Welcome back to another fun episode of the Relentless CEO Podcast. My name is Adam Kifer, and we're jumping into your submitted questions this week. So many of you guys submitted questions either through my Instagram or through the Relentless Studio Owners Group. So I want to take some time to just answer your questions, and we're just going to jump right in head first. First one is a pretty relevant question as AI is getting way more popular in all industries. This person said, more and more people are using AI in posts, social media posts. Will AI ruin engagement on posts? I find myself quickly scrolling past AI-generated posts. So I think the way I think about AI is that it's a tool, right? And the tool itself is only as good as the person using the tool. For example, you could give me a saw, a hammer, and nails, and you could give a handyman the same tools, and I guarantee that handyman is going to build something way better than whatever I build with those same tools. So thinking of AI, it's the same way. AI is just a tool for the user. So it's really about how you use AI. And I totally agree. The people that are just sort of doing the bare minimum, so you're going to ChatGPT and you're just like, give me a social media post for XYZ, and then it spits it out and then you copy and paste it. Those people are not going to be getting engagement. Like, here's the one thing I can already tell. If it starts with the words unlock or unleash, it's AI generated. It's created by ChatGPT because it's like the default setting almost when ChatGPT is writing copy for social media posts. So I also think the same as with images. I think it's going to get back to a point where there's so much AI generated images going out there that the user generated content and the more native looking images, like looks like you just took it with your cell phone, are going to start to stand out in the crowd again. I don't think AI is a bad thing. I think it's good. I use AI all the time. I'm using ChatGPT daily to help just save time on what I'm doing, but I don't solely rely on AI as the end all be all. It is a tool. You have to train it. Like if you're using ChatGPT correctly, it fully understands your brand. If you're using it correctly, you have a separate chat thread for every single role that you want it to play. So what that means is like we have a Move Martial Arts email copywriter chat. We have a Move Martial Arts social media copywriter chat. We have a Move Martial Arts blog copywriting chat. We have one for everything. I have an Arizona attorney chat where I have it come up with contracts and sales agreement that I then send to my actual attorney to save money. So that way I'm not just relying on my attorney and paying them $500,000 an hour to write a sales agreement. Like, no, I'll flesh it out using the help of ChatGPT, and then I send it to my attorney to look it over and make changes, making it way more cost effective. So I think if you're using it the right way, awesome. It's going to be helpful. It's going to be a cheat code for you to save time. And I think you can be creative with it enough where you can make it so it doesn't sound like AI. Like you can train ChatGPT to sound like you if you know how to explain to ChatGPT exactly how you sound. The great thing is if you're a heavy content creator and you're creating podcasts, you're creating posting mat chats, like whatever it is, you can literally take the transcripts of everything that you put out as far as content goes, load it up into ChatGPT and teach it your brand voice. So that part is cool. I only think it ruins engagement if you're doing the same thing as everyone else, but that's marketing in general, right? If you're doing the same type of content as everyone else, it's going to get stale. It's not going to stand out. So I always say when everyone else is going left, you got to find a way to go right. Like, how do you stand out against what everyone else is doing? Second question, Adam, I suck with money, and I heard you talking about how you used to be bad with money. Totally true. How did you get better? I just decided one day to stop sucking at money. No, it's really it comes down to a couple of things. It's education. So educating yourself on whatever you're lacking in this case, maybe it's money. Okay. And then not only just educating, but implementing what you're educating yourself on. Like it's crazy. There's some people online that post like, I read 84 books in 2023. And then like you're looking at their life and they make a similar post every year and their life's in the same place all the time. It's like, cool, you're reading for leisure and you're not actually implementing anything that you're reading. I don't read 84 books a year. I may read maybe like 25, I don't know, 30 max. But I implement the shit out of whatever I read. Like I always, if there's a chapter that I read and I haven't, there's something in there I need to implement that I haven't yet, I usually will not even move on to the next chapter until I implemented the takeaway from the current chapter that I'm on, just how I am. So sometimes I'll have one book that may take me like 9 months to read. And partly that's because I'm trying to implement chapter by chapter instead of just brushing through the book, forgetting half the things that I read in it or learned in it or wanted to apply and then go back. So with money, for me, it started off with really why did I need to be better at money? Like, what is the reason? That's to me the first part you need to understand. For me, I needed to be better at money so my kids don't repeat the same cycle that my parents had, because in the long lineage of Kifers, it's bad financial habits, bad financial habits, bad financial habits. We had Kifers that made money, but they didn't keep it, right? So for me, the motivation to learn about money was to make sure that I didn't repeat that same cycle for my own kids. Right, so I think you really need to understand the reason why. If it's like, oh, I just want to get rich and buy a Lamborghini and all that stuff, I don't think it's going to motivate you to learn about money. It's in my opinion, it's not going to. I think the other part of it is like having a healthy relationship with money as well. I think a lot of people see rich people as assholes, and rich people are like get away with everything because they have all this money. No, rich people. Well, let me rephrase this. There's rich and there's wealthy people, right? Rich people are the people that are currently making a lot of money now. Wealthy are the people that have a lot of money to last them for a very long time. Okay, they have a lot of passive income. So with that being said, I'd rather be wealthy than rich. Okay, I want money that's going to last for generations. Yeah, I want to make money right now too, but my goal is on the wealthy side. So for me, I started by educating myself with books because I couldn't afford to go anywhere else. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad was like the first book that taught me about the proper relationship to have with money, and sort of went against the societal norms that are out there about what you should be doing with money, putting it in a savings account, using it to go to college, whatever. So that was step one for me. And that book is sort of what changed my perspective on the relationship with money and made me want to learn more about it. The second part is, man, I surround myself with people that are so damn smart on every topic that I don't feel like I'm smart enough on. Part of that is I fired my accountant at the time, found an accountant that actually knew about tax savings that could teach me about it, found a financial advisor that was going to actually make my money work for me and hold me accountable to actually contribute money to a retirement account every single month, multiple times per month, to the point now that money goes into that account and I never see it. So I don't even know it's gone. Like it hits my checking account and then immediately within like the same hour, it's already taken out and put into whatever account it's supposed to go into for investing. And then talking to other business people smarter than you too about money is going to be really insightful and helpful. Like right now, just to give you guys some transparency on what I'm doing on the money side. Right now, I'm working with an estate planning attorney where we're putting everything in a trust. We're making sure that everything is protected for the future. And this is all stuff that even right now, I don't know enough to teach this. Like I'm going through it right now. But it's crazy. As you continue to scale success-wise, you start to run into different challenges that make you educate yourself. Because it's either educate yourself, learn, implement, and get better, or just like close the doors and shut down. So I think for all of you guys, you need to have people around you that know money better than you, that you can rely on, that are a good example with money. And what I mean by good example with money doesn't mean that they're spending their money on cool shit. Good example with money means that they're being smart about money and they're making smart daily financial decisions with the money. That's what really counts. And then again, courses, books, all that stuff together, and then practice, right? Even as I was learning this, when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I wasn't like all of a sudden overnight financially successful. Like I still made a ton of mistakes. I still was very undisciplined with money. And it took me a while to get to the point where now I feel like I'm very disciplined with money, maybe too much in some scenarios, but I'd rather be on that end of the spectrum than spending money as soon as I get it. Because with you guys as business owners and martial arts business owners at that, making money to me is easy. Keeping money is the challenging part. So for you guys, you might say like, oh, we profited $150,000 this year, which is a good profit depending on what your revenue is. How much of that did you keep? How many of that is still in an account somewhere at the end of the year? Just something to keep in mind. All right. What books were the most influential in your growth as a business owner? Really good question. I'm going to give you guys a different book per topic. So mindset-wise, Relentless by Tim Grover is always going to be my go-to. The whole concept between cooler, closer, and cleaner is something that everyone should know. Ideally, if you're managing a business, you want to make sure that you have closers and cleaners. Okay, you don't need coolers really to help you grow your business, in my perspective. Money, I'm going to say Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Psychology of Money are probably the top two for me. Business, man, this can go a bunch of different ways. I'm going to throw two out there that maybe aren't thought of as business books. First is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. To me, you cannot be a great leader without emotional intelligence. You can't be a leader of people without emotional intelligence. You can't scale past a certain part in your business without emotional intelligence. Just my perspective. I also think Self-Aware Leader by John Maxwell is a must read for every business owner or CEO. I also don't think you can get past a certain level without the proper amount of self-awareness. I think self-awareness also keeps you humble and gets rid of your ego. Those are probably my main go-to. On marketing side, I'm going to throw some oldies at you. Ogilvy on Advertising, to me, is the Bible of marketing. It gives examples of why Ogilvy was so good at what he did. You got to think, like, in the 70s and 80s, he had a $55 million marketing agency, like, per year with 19 clients. Like, he was doing next level shit in the 70s and 80s that nobody else was doing. Also, right now, everyone is in the sphere of following Alex Hormozy and Russell Brunson and those type of guys, which they are all insanely smart. Don't get me wrong on that. But what's happening is, in the digital landscape, everyone's copying their styles of videos. Everyone's copying their styles of copywriting. And it's all becoming like imitations of that. For me, I'm going back and looking at David Ogilvy and Claude Hopkins, and I'm seeing what was the style that made them catch on so quickly. And that's the direction I want to go. Because while everyone else is going this way, following the Hormozy, Russell Brunson style, I want to stand out by going a different direction. So Ogilvy on Advertising, Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, those are like the marketing must-haves. I will throw Russell Brunson in there. .com Secrets, I still think, is his best book ever written if you are just trying to get a basic understanding of digital marketing. Hopefully that helps. I'll also give you a martial arts book, Instructor Toolbox by Dave Kovar. For me, especially early on, that was like an essential book for training myself, training the instructor team. So there's your list. Who is one person you would like to interview for the podcast but haven't yet? This is a good question. Everyone that sees this needs to tag this person in the post, because I'm sure this will be a reel. Dana White. We need to get Dana White on this podcast. We've had Chatri from one. We've had Gary Brecka, who is like Dana's personal health consultant, on here. We've had Adam Sedlak, who's the CEO of UFC Gyms. We need big dog Dana White on here now. So make sure you guys tag him. Let's get him on here. I would love to just pick his brain. I am such a fan of how he operates the company and how transparent he is. His emotional intelligence is at such a high level that I don't think most people even realize it. He's so unaffected by the opinions of others. It's fucking awesome. So I would love to interview Dana White. He'd be my dream interview at the moment. Next question. I'm redoing my class schedule. How do you determine if you should combine classes or not for certain times? Great question. So first thing you need to understand is, what is your break-even point per class? So for MX martial arts, I know that 13 people in a class is our break-even point, which means if there's any classes with 13 or less, we're not making money. So if I look out on the mat and let's say my 5 p.m. intermediate class has 10, and then my 6 p.m. advanced class also has 10, on their own, neither one of those hours are profitable. So in that case, I'm going to combine both those classes. So now we have 20 people training on the mat in 1 hour, and I now have a profitable hour on the mat, if that makes sense. If you guys are wondering what the formula is for that, in the martial arts systems course, we have it in there. Our mastermind has it in there as well. There's an entire spreadsheet. We call a class profitability calculator, where you just input the numbers you need and it gives you all the calculations based on the numbers you input. So if you guys are in either one of those programs, I would highly recommend using that. All right. What does your black belt test look like? All right. So I'm going to go over this. This is going to be our first black belt test with our updated curriculum coming up. So it's a work in progress, just putting that disclaimer out there, right? So getting ready for a black belt test, first of all, it takes about 4 years for someone to be a black belt, depending on when they start. The younger they start, the longer it takes. For example, if they're in a 5 to 7 year old class, until they graduate, they're just working on that curriculum, which means really from 7 years old on is when they start actually learning the curriculum for their black belt that they're going to test on at their black belt test. So it's about 4 years, 4.5 years-ish. We do 6 to 12 months of prep when they get to the advanced class. We'll call it advanced class since that's what most people call it. When they get to advanced class, they still are learning the regular curriculum for that entire year it takes to complete advanced class. But at the same time, they're going to our black belt boot camp class, which is prepping them. It's a one a week, hour-long class where we're just reviewing previous curriculum. And then we also have a set of combos that they learn in that class that they'll test on as well. With our black belt tests, they're doing a lot of combinations. We call them mixtapes, both on mitts, shadow boxing style, in the air, on heavy bags. So we're having them show us these different combos and their ability to perform these combos in different areas. Sometimes it's doing 1-for-1s, 2-for-2s, 3-for-3s, where I do the combo and I'm trying to hit my partner, they're defending, and then they do one back, and then I do two, they do two, back and forth type of thing. So we have different ways that we practice that. We do footwork call outs for part of it to make sure their footwork is good. We have an entire fitness test that goes with it as well. For sparring, they do 12 2-minute rounds for sparring with a 1-minute break in between those rounds. So the sparring part is definitely the hardest. We do it last. We also still do board breaking, but they're board breaking with the stuff that they are doing regularly in class. So it's going to be like a front kick. It's going to be a jab or a cross. Yes, we let them wear a glove when they want to break, especially for the kids. The adults can wear wraps or gloves. But really, guys, it's all based on what they're learning in their curriculum. It's not like we're not adding things in extra. We're not trying to make it so hard that the classes don't actually prepare them for the black belt test, which is a big mistake I see. Like there's like some schools, they're like, yeah, we run like 3 miles up a mountain and then 3 miles back down. And I'm like, what in your curriculum is preparing them for a 6-mile run, doing half uphill and then the rest down? And they're like, well, we do some like running with them leading up to the black belt test. Like you're testing them on something that you're not actually preparing them for. That's ego, in my opinion. Also, I don't think there's a lot of people out there hosting black belt tests that I don't think the school owner could actually do the test themselves. Like you guys are just like, again, you're letting ego or tradition dominate what you're testing your students on instead of actually being realistic and saying like, what does our curriculum actually prep them to test on? What does it actually make them ready to test on? If you're testing them on things that you don't actually like start practicing with them until 3 months before their black belt test, to me, it's an ego test at that point. All right. They should be testing on all the things that you've been prepping them for since they started training. All right, rant over. But yeah, that's generally what it looks like. It's about a 4-hour test altogether, depending on how many people are testing. They also have an essay that they turn in that is just asking them different prompts about their training. What else? And then we also require 2 letters of recommendation from people outside their family. So it could be like a school teacher and a coach, something like that. I'm sure there's more than I'm missing, but that's the general gist. Okay, next question. I'm always struggling with work-life balance. How do I accurately split time between my spouse and my business? This is a good question. Man, did I struggle with this forever? Tim Grover has the best answer to this question I've ever heard in my life. He's like, there is no such thing as balance. So basically he describes it as this, like if you have a scale and you put the same weight on each side of the scale, what does the scale read? 0. Okay. There's no output, right? So to me, there's going to be seasons of business and seasons of family, right? And it sort of just goes based on what's happening at the time. Like December is a season of family for me, okay? But leading up to the summit becomes a season of business for me. So there's that element. For me, the game changer for us, my wife and I, is really just how we've been able to communicate better over the years. Part of that is because we both committed to going to marriage counseling, and that both helped us learn how to communicate better to each other and communicate in each other's styles. I think that's a big part of it, because if there isn't communication, then all of a sudden work seems more important than your spouse, right? But now when I communicate to my wife that, hey, we have this event coming up I'm going to be getting home later for a shorter period of time. I just want to give you a heads up. Now there's expectations set, right? I think the other part of it is a lot of times we talk about time blocking for business, but you have to time block for really anything in life that you think is important. So if I only time block for business, then I'm really saying that the only thing important enough for me to set time aside from my calendar is business. You need a time block for family also. My wife and I are pretty consistent with our date nights. We do miss them once in a while, but for the most part, we're pretty consistent. Like this weekend, we have a date weekend where we're just going to Vegas and we're gonna see Ross kick the dude's ass he's fighting, and we're just gonna have a fun weekend together without any kids. And I always recommend, like, if you can get away, whether it's a staycation, do a weekend trip where you drive somewhere, like carve out that time for your significant other. Because it gives you those moments to be able to just connect with each other on a better level. I think for everyone as an entrepreneur, it's always going to be a struggle. I don't think it ever gets like extremely easy and to the point where everything becomes passive for you in your businesses. But I think to start with, it's communication, it's date night, it's not being afraid to go to marriage counseling when you need it, or to go get a husband coach or a wife coach or whatever you need. But being transparent with each other and open and honest is like one of the keys to communication. And have fun. Like, remember how to have fun as a couple. Think back to your first date, or when you guys first started dating, and think about how much fun you guys used to have when you're first going out. Like, husbands, it's your job to recreate that fun when you're planning dates, right? And wives, if you're planning dates, you should be recreating that fun too. It's a two-way street. That's all I got on that, but hopefully that helps. Next question, free trials or paid trials? Whatever works is the correct answer. Whatever works for your business. Pros and cons to both, but you can also offset any of these cons with the correct business systems. So free trials, the typical goods of a free trial is that you're going to have a lower cost per lead because there's less of a barrier for people to actually opt in for like a free 7-day, free month, whatever, right? So lower lead costs right out of the gate. You're going to have a higher volume of leads as a result of lower lead costs. The cons of free trials is you have a less qualified or interested lead because it's free. I sort of think about it like if you stood out in the corner and just handed out flyers to people, people would just take the flyers because you're handing them out, even if they have no interest in whatever the flyer says. Sometimes happens like that with free leads. The other kind of free leads is going to be show up rate, right? They have no skin in the game, so they're going to be less likely to show up. I do like free offers for referrals. When you're trying to get someone to get their friend into the school, a free week pass is great. I do like them for database reactivation campaigns when you're doing or some people call them a re-engagement campaign, whatever the hell you want to call it. But when you're reaching out to your current list of leads to try and get them to take action because they didn't want to do the trial for whatever reason, offering a free trial instead of a paid trial is a good way to incentivize them to come in. I like free trials given out at birthday parties. So there's times for them. Paid trials, let's go over pros and cons of that. Let's go start with the cons of paid trials. Cons of paid trials is going to be a higher lead cost in most cases because there is a little bit more of a barrier because they have to pay money for something, right? Other kind of paid trial is you're usually going to get less leads as a result when it comes to a paid trial. Pros of a paid trial is, to me, logistically, paid trials are a lot less work. I have less volume. I have less calls in the sense that I'm not going to have as many no-shows because people are going to show up because they don't want to lose out on their money. So I don't have to do as many no-show calls. It's less chasing because it's a higher quality lead as well. It's just my personal opinion. I also believe that with paid trials, you're probably going to end up having a slightly higher closing percentage as well in the enrollment process because, again, you have a more qualified lead. They already put some skin in the game. They're showing that they have a bit more interest than the average free lead. Just my 2 cents on those things. Next question, testing fees, yes or no? Again, whatever works, guys. Great thing about this industry is there's like 5,000 ways to be successful. To say that you have to go one way or the other to be successful is bullshit. And that's usually someone just trying to sell you on their program and doing it their way. We have clients in our mastermind that have no testing fees. We have clients that have testing fees. And we have both sets of clients successful. Me personally, I would rather charge a higher monthly fee and get rid of testing fees because it creates more predictable revenue. And also I try and avoid having any sort of nickel and dime feeling for our members. So we charge average $227 to $247 per month right now with no testing fees. And the thing I liked about it is our billing is higher as a result. We used to have testing fees. We got rid of them. But billing is higher as a result. We don't have people ever saying that they feel nickel and dimed. And I think if you're going at it from a service perspective, okay, Brandon Belisa would like that I'm mentioning this. From a service perspective, I like to have it all included. Just makes it easier in my opinion. Again, though, if it's working for you, don't change it. Like, keep it as is. All right, this is a long question. This is like a deep thought question we got. Aside from chasing clout and money, why are we doing what we're doing? It's a losing battle against societal norms and shifting technologies. Do we get any true value from our pursuits, or are we just doing a job to collect a check? And yes, this is from a school owner. All right, we're going to break this down a little bit. So first part, aside from chasing clout and money, why are we doing what we are doing? First of all, I think if you're chasing money or clout, you are in this game for the totally wrong reason. All right. I think money is a byproduct of what we're doing. Clout, I can give two fucks about clout. Like, I don't care about what people think about me, if they like me or not. You should have that same opinion. So clout, I can care less about. Money, I think money is important as far as profit goes because it allows you to have a larger impact, allows you to pay your people better, all of that good stuff. So I think money does have to be a focus, but I also don't think it should be the main focus. For me, if you are delivering 5-star service, you have a quality training floor, like money is going to be a byproduct of those. You have good systems, right? Money is a byproduct, right? If you're actually fulfilling your promise of changing lives and creating transformations within your members, money will become a byproduct of that. When you just focus on the money, that's when your culture shifts. That's when your team's focus shifts. That's when they don't feel fulfilled with what they're doing. So why are we doing what we're doing? I can only speak for me. I can't speak for any of you guys listening. Why am I doing what I'm doing is, number one, I want to change millions of kids' lives just like martial arts changed my life. Like, everything that I'm doing now probably would have been a harder journey without martial arts, right? I would not have the confidence I have. I would not have the problem solving that I have. I would not have the leadership that I have. I would not have the mental toughness that I have if I didn't do martial arts. So let me throw that out there. For me, it's about the impact more than anything. The second thing is, besides impacting kids through martial arts, I want to be able to have a positive impact on the world. I can't do that without money, right? Like, if I was fortunate enough this year, I've done this the last few years, but for some reason it just felt different this year. Every year around Christmas, my wife and I try and sponsor some families and pay for their presents for their kids if they can't afford it. Usually we just do, I throw a general post up and I have a bunch of people reach out to me that are from the martial arts community that need some help, and I'm happy to do that. This year was cool because I changed it up. I still did the post on my personal feed, but I also posted in the local community group the exact same thing. And the response to being able to help people in the community and take care of their Christmas was awesome. So fulfilling for me. And sort of was a good reminder for me of why it's important to be profitable in my businesses, because I wouldn't be able to bless people like that if I didn't have that opportunity. I was thinking about it because we're getting ready for taxes to be done, right? As I was going through everything for the last year, every single year that I've made more money, I've been able to donate more to charity as well. So I've been able to help more people all around the world as a result of making more money myself. So for me, the fulfillment comes from the ability to help others. I think the other part of it for me is the opportunity to provide better opportunities for my team than they would get working anywhere else. So that's a driver for me. I would love to fast forward 10 years from now. Let's say we sell the companies or sell a company or whatever, and to write checks for $1 million or more to multiple people on my team. That's badass, dude. So all of that is why I do what I'm doing. Now, for you, it might not be the same reason, and that's okay. But the most important thing is that you have that reason. Because when you have that deep purpose and that deep why, you can give two fucks about societal norms. Like, I can care less about societal norms. I think most societal norms are exactly that. They're norms. They're averages. They're normal. They're nothing special. Okay. I think what we provide at Move is something better than the education system in a lot of senses, because we're teaching the skills that the education system doesn't equip kids with. Like, how many of us wish that K through 8th grade taught us about money management? How many of us wish that K through 8th grade taught us about emotional management? It didn't for most of us, right? So I think you have to have a purpose for why you're doing it. And I think, and everyone talks about whys and purposes, I get it. But I think when you have that deep purpose and that deep why, you never see it as a losing battle. Like, you always see, like, you changed one kid's life this week, that's a winning battle to me. Like, I'm making progress, I'm moving forward. And it also, like, allows you, I think, for me personally, to be more risky with some of the things that I do with my business. Like, I've told this story on here before. First mastermind I joined, I didn't have the money to pay for it, so I put like 40 grand on a credit card. Risky as shit. I would not recommend anyone else to do it, but I was so confident that what I was going to learn, I would be able to implement and get that money back, that for me, it was a no-brainer. And I think the only reason I was that confident is because I'm so focused on the purpose and the why behind what we do. I think if you're unsure about the why, what I would recommend you guys doing is go through the Vivid Vision training. That's part of the martial arts systems course and also part of our mastermind, or just buy the book by Cameron Harold, who was on this podcast not too long ago, Vivid Vision, because it walks you through probably even more detailed. We just teach you guys how to do it for martial arts schools. But go through that because it'll help you to really get in touch with your why and with your purpose and like the vision of your business, all right? So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You guys need to sort of figure that out for yourself. What is the end goal? And it's not even like, it should really be what fulfills you. Like, what makes you feel like a whole person by doing it. And I would also say, if martial arts is not that thing, it may just mean you're in the wrong thing and you find something else that does fulfill you. Martial arts isn't for everyone. It's not an easy business to run. Part 2 of this, we talked about societal norms, shifting technologies. I think technology is just going to aid martial arts training. I think the people that don't adapt with technology are going to fall way behind. AI, we talked about a little bit earlier in this podcast, but AI is a necessary tool right now. Okay, if you're not using AI and your competitor is, they're saving way more time than you're saving, right? While you're manually typing every word of that email, they're like, hey, ChatGPT, give me this, this, and this. And then there's fixing a few things and sending it. And that took them maybe 3 minutes, and it took you 30 minutes to an hour to write your email. Like, they're getting the competitive advantage there. So, yes, technologies will always be shifting and always be developing, but it's our job to sort of stay on track with those and the ones that are going to be a good tool for our business. Do we get any true value from our pursuits, or are we just doing a job to collect a check? Again, if you feel like you're just doing a job to collect a check, I would just encourage you to reassess what you're doing. Like, I just don't think it may be the right thing for you. And if you're in Arizona and you're doing that and you need to sell your school, just call me. I know a guy. But no, all jokes aside, I think it's really getting back in touch with why you're doing what you're doing. For me, martial arts is a blessing. It's like, it's what I love to do. I don't really see any day as work. And it also is something that makes it easier for me to stay and work late when I need to commit more time to this, to be passionate about helping school owners grow. It's because I love what I fucking do every single day. Walt Disney is a good example of a leader that takes this to another level. He loved what he did so much that he built an apartment in Magic Kingdom so that he could actually live there when he wanted to and see the day-to-day operations and do all of that. And I think a lot of us, if we find ourselves trying to avoid our business constantly, we're probably not actually doing what we love, or we just lost touch of our why. But for you guys on an individual level, that's something that you guys need to figure out. Next question. How do I know if my business is actually doing better? Feedback and KPIs. Simple question. Like, what is the feedback you're getting from your members and from your team? Are you actually intentionally asking them for feedback? And then your numbers show it. I think for us, we need to compare month over month, year over year with numbers. I think it's easy for, as a martial arts business owner, any entrepreneur, to look at our numbers for this month and be like, man, we suck. We're not doing good. But then you look at it compared to this month last year, and you grew by like 40%. So just make sure you have perspective on your numbers when you're looking at them so you know what to compare them to. And then also, are you actually keeping money that you're making, or is it just constantly break even, break even, break even? Next question. Ooh. How important is marketing? I would ask all my competitors that aren't marketing how important marketing is, because we're marketing hard and kicking ass. They're not marketing and they're scraping by. Marketing is the fuel for your car. Okay, it is the fuel for your car. One of the things that I don't understand is when I talk to a business owner and they're like, yeah, we just have to stop marketing because we don't really have enough money to be marketing. And it's like, all right, I'm going to stop going to work because I don't have enough money to put in my car right now, to put gas in my car. Do you guys see like how, I almost said a bad word, how dumb that is? like how stupid that like thought process is? Like, all right, my business isn't making money, so let's chop off the thing that's helping us get more members so we can make more money. It boggles my mind. To me, there's two cures for a majority of the problems in your business. Okay, it's marketing and sales. If you're losing a shit ton of students out the back end, and I increase the marketing and I increase the sales, they balance each other out. Now, you still have a problem to fix back here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to ignore why you're losing members and just like more money into marketing. No. But if I convert at a higher percentage, guess what? It fixes a lot of the money problems. It fixes a lot of the net billing issues, which is how many people I'm losing and how many I'm gaining, right? You have to market, guys. Now, are there times of the year where you're going to pull back marketing a little bit? Yeah, like maybe December. We know cost per lead is the highest it is of the entire year. Maybe December, I'm pulling back my marketing spend, and then I'm going to reallocate that money to January and kick so much ass in January because lead cost is the lowest of the year. Marketing must always be happening. And it's not even just paid marketing. Like, if you guys just take a step back and look at how much content that I put out on a weekly basis. We have the podcast. We have the reels going out. We have social media posts on my personal pages. I have social media posts on the business pages. We have social media posts in the groups. Like, if you look at sort of like every channel I'm associated with and combine the number of posts and content going out per week, it's probably like 50 like different items going out per week across all of that. That's a lot, right? But it's funny, because we're putting so much content out across all those channels, when we run ads for any of our like company, the Relentless companies, our cost per lead is so damn low because we're everywhere all the time. So for you guys, if you're seeing marketing as an expense, you might just not understand the return on it. Okay. The other part of it is you should have enough organic content going out constantly that when you do run ads, the community is always already very aware of you. Okay. And it's less of a warming up process. The other thing that I would recommend you guys figuring out is what your cost per acquisition is and what the lifetime value of a member is, right? So let's say take your gross revenue, divide it by your number of members, okay? You get your average revenue per member, right? So let's say after I do that, it's $200 average revenue per member. Then you're going to look at how long does the average student actually stay with you? Let's say it's 10 months, okay? Just throwing that out there. I take $200 times 10 months. That's my lifetime value. So in this situation, whether it be a $2,000 lifetime value, so I know that on average, when I enroll a member, I get $2,000 back. Now, is marketing still sounding expensive? If I'm paying $100 to acquire a member, but I get $2,000 back, is marketing still expensive? No. What if I have to pay $200 to get a member, but I still get $2,000 back? Is marketing still expensive? More expensive than option one, but still, I'm getting $1,800 back on that. Like, so to me, the business owners that think marketing is expensive either is not getting results from the marketing, or they don't understand the ratio of how much it costs for them to acquire a member compared to how much they're getting on the back end. When you figure that out, you get way more confident with your marketing. Speaking of marketing, Adam, what offer should I run for my martial arts school? Same answer, the one that works. is the one that you run. I can tell you for our agency, the two best performing ones are going to be 14 days for $14 with a free uniform, free boxing, free whatever. Or it's going to be 21 days for $21 with free XYZ. The other thing, I don't want to share that yet. I'll save that for my clients. The other thing that I would encourage you guys to focus on with this is if you're a fitness studio, in the fitness realm, for whatever reason, paid trials don't work as well as they do in martial arts. I would focus on free offers for fitness. I see those working way better. I think part of it is there's so many different fitness places out there. Like I always talk about, in a 10-mile radius, we have 32 martial arts schools. The number of fitness locations in that same 10-mile radius is like 70. It's more than double the amount of martial arts schools. So because there's so many different fitness concepts, a lot of times free works better because people do need to try it because there's so many different options for them. So you just need to crush that experience when you get them in the door. That's all I got, guys. That's all the questions. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any other questions that you want to submit for future podcasts, we do this usually once a quarter where we do the Ask a Question podcast. Just DM me on any of the platforms. I'll save it in my note file so we can bring it back up on the podcast. If there's any other guests that you want to see, please let us know. Tag Dana White like hell. Let's get his attention. Let's get him on here. Love you guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We're unstoppable, to the top, we about to go. That CEO, I need to know the impact we about to grow. Competition, comical, straight A1, we on the road. Money focus for the goal, tell them what they need to know. We unstoppable.